It's day 125 of the Israel-Hamas war. 27,000 people killed, over 65,000 injured. Half of Gaza is a mound of rubble, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is not done yet. He was offered a ceasefire deal. Hamas proposed a pause in fighting along with exchange of hostages. Israel was expected to come up with its own counteroffer, but Prime Minister Netanyahu has rejected the deal. He described the terms as quote-unquote bizarre, and he has vowed to fight until complete victory. But what is complete victory? And what will it cost the region and the world? Also, will Netanyahu's allies support this dismissal? Here's a report.
Israel's war with Hamas has dragged into its fifth month. The death toll is rising. 139 hostages remain in Hamas captivity. Diplomacy continues behind doors. But Benjamin Netanyahu has one objective: destroying Hamas, no matter what the cost. The Israeli Prime Minister has rejected a new ceasefire proposal. It came from Hamas. It reportedly had three phases. Phase 1 included a 45-day pause in fighting. Israeli hostages would be exchanged for Palestinian prisoners, mainly women and children. Israeli forces would withdraw from Gaza and reconstruction of hospitals would begin. Then there's Phase 2. Remaining Israeli male hostages would be exchanged. Israeli forces would leave Gaza, and in Phase 3, both sides would exchange remains and bodies. The deal would see a 135-day pause in fighting. Aid would enter Gaza, injured would get medical treatment, and the Strip would get some respite, especially after 125 days of conflict.
We have now given our responses to our brothers in Qatar and Egypt. On their part, they have handed it over to the Americans and handed it over to the other party. Now we are waiting for the response of the other side. We hope that, God willing, this matter will go on. Now people are waiting for what will be the response of the other party.
So Hamas came up with a proposal. Israel was expected to come up with its own proposal, something to counter Hamas's initial terms. But Netanyahu has now outrightly rejected their terms. He has called them bizarre.
There is no solution other than total victory. If Hamas survives in Gaza, it is only a matter of time until the next massacre and the axis of evil of Iran and its proxies will continue its campaign of killing and aggression without interruption. Only a total victory will allow us to restore security in Israel, both in the north and in the south.
So Netanyahu says victory will come, but the question is at what cost? Meanwhile, the Israeli Prime Minister ordered troops to move into Rafah. It is the biggest city in Gaza's far south. 1 million Palestinians are seeking refuge there. A military operation could spell disaster. But Netanyahu is pressing on. But his actions aren't going down too well, both with his allies and with the people of Israel. Let's look at the allies first. Support for Israel's war is waning. Ceasefire is the need of the hour. US Secretary of State is already in West Asia. He even met the Israeli Prime Minister. Discussions are underway. They are being mediated by Egypt and Qatar. Blinken hoped for a breakthrough here, but all he got was Netanyahu's rejection. And it could be seen as a snub. But the US Secretary of State says there is still hope.
What I can tell you about these discussions is that while there are some clear non-starters in Hamas's response, we do think it creates space for agreement to be reached. And we will work at that relentlessly until we get there.
As for the people of Israel, they want the hostages back home. Netanyahu says ending Hamas is the best way to get them back. But the citizens don't agree, which explains why the Israeli Prime Minister is losing popularity. When the war started, Israelis backed the military action. But 5 months in, all they care about is the fate of the hostages. They believe the only feasible option to free the hostages is to strike another deal with Hamas, something Netanyahu refuses to do right now. So what happens next? Hamas has proposed a ceasefire. Netanyahu says no. He believes a win will come, even if it takes months. But what does a complete victory even mean? Does it mean saving the hostages or just ending Hamas? Netanyahu may have rejected it now, But as calls for a ceasefire grow louder, how long can the Israeli Prime Minister ignore it?